I'll start recording just so we
Don't forget.
have a record of this.
Okay.
We have our ace reporter Bruno from the Republican American is
Okay.
joining us.
So we're maybe just waiting on one person then?
Yeah, and with Jeremy, maybe we could get started anyway, because it is being recorded, so he can go back and watch.
Yeah. Are we just waiting for Starly?
Starly, yeah, Starly. Yeah, let me email Starly. That's a good thought.
He came in a little bit late the last time, as I remember.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
He is. Well, that's what I was going to say. We all have our schedules, and I know he's really busy.
Okay.
Well, should we get started anyway?
Yes, let's get started.
Okay, so really what's the main focus of our meeting today really is to try to finalize that resident housing needs survey and make sure everyone is comfortable with it. But a couple other things on the agenda that you hopefully saw. I got the list from the Department of Housing in terms of the number of units and the location of the units that it counts as affordable in the city. And I thought it might be interesting for the committee to just take a quick look at that. And we did talk, I think, at the last meeting about how many of those, existing affordable units, were potentially in danger of the city losing those units over the next 5 years. And then we can talk about the possibility of also doing some kind of survey for folks who work in town but don't live in Torrington currently, and or doing some kind of survey of employers in terms of what they feel like the housing needs might be. So that is what is on the agenda for today, unless folks have other things they want to cover.
That sounds good. I'm interested to see if Claudia had an opportunity to look over that list to see whether it looked fairly accurate to her and making sure that all her units that should be counted were counted.
All the units for the Housing Authority as well as our nonprofit are on here.
Well, that's great.
Do you want me to screen share it for a minute?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, it is kind of a busy Excel spreadsheet, but I think here, let me see. And I didn't. I'm not really sure why they highlighted most of the column of the rows. But I mean, one of the things that's interesting to me is kind of the overall proportion of affordable units that are, you know, elderly and disabled focused units versus open to other folks. Claudia, are there any developments on this list that you weren't aware of or that surprised you?
Well, I can't say, there's a lot of them I'm unfamiliar with, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
The larger ones I know. you know.
right, yeah, that makes sense. And then the smaller ones are probably, you know, group homes, maybe.
Could be, I don't know.
Yeah. Are you still seeing the spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, management wise, look at what a busy gal our Claudia is. That's for sure.
That was
Indeed.
my first thought when I saw this. I did not realize how wide her realm was.
I eat
Um,
my Wheaties every morning.
That's
That's
a
for
good
sure.
thing.
All right. And you know, I spoke with, because again, I think at the last meeting we were talking about, you know, was there any danger for any of these to, you know, for the affordability restrictions to expire? I will also share with you here, I have the state spreadsheet for deed restricted units. There's only 17. I'll just share it with you. 17 deed restricted units on the state list for the city of Torrington.
And they're all mine.
They're all yours, Claudia?
Yeah, yep, and they
Okay.
are deed restricted.
Yeah. And does these expiration dates mean anything to you? Like what will happen on October 18th, 2024?
I'll either be able to take them out of being affordable or I don't know. I don't foresee it as making any impact on it at all. But let's say that, you know, I wanted to sell it. I could sell it as just a regular residence or
And
two family.
would the housing authority consider that?
Well, the housing authority doesn't own them. It's a nonprofit that we have. No, they're
Okay.
not interested in doing that at this point.
Okay.
The
So-
only thing, my only correction on this, not on this list, but on your total list, is that you have project numbers associated with some of my sites that are no longer valid. I don't have any state sites any longer. I federalized every single one of them. So for example, you have Laurel Acres, E35 and E73. They've been federalized since 2010.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally what the Department of Housing sent me. I didn't make
Oh,
any.
okay.
edits to it.
No problem.
So I was just trying to, you know, we had that conversation last time about, you know, what were the units that, you know, they just have a total number and we wanted to know where that total number came from. And then again, I guess the conversation was around do you all feel there's any danger in losing any of these units that are currently on either of these two lists? And I guess Claudia, you would be the one to know.
Well, for example, oh, Marty, what's the name of the project behind, oh, I'm having a complete blank.
The one over
BJ's,
by BJ's, yeah.
yeah,
That apartment complex had formerly been on the list.
right. And they
it-
went out.
Yeah, they went off the list, and of course,
Right.
that put a lot of pressure on Claudia to relocate some of these folks that
Yeah.
were getting rent subsidized under, a program and no longer were. So that added to your waiting list, did it not, Claudia?
Yes, well, I did get some additional vouchers for those people, but yes, that was that was an experience. But my point is that if you were asking before, what does this mean when the time is up, if you will, for a deed restriction? Well,
Right.
it could be what happened there. They have quite a few units and they became, market rate. We still are able to do business with them because I do have clients that rent there on Section 8. They take their voucher and they go there and find an apartment. But I just want you to be aware that it is a possibility that people can take their deed restricted property at the end of the time period and go market rate.
Right, and I guess I'm just wondering whether any part of the strategies in this housing plan that we're developing should address ways to avoid losing developments. Like reinvesting in them, for example. So we don't have to talk about that now. I just, again, I was just trying to figure out what the magnitude of the possible challenge might be if we're just talking about a few units that might have expiring restrictions, or if we're talking about a lot. All right, well, so is there anything else you all want to talk about in terms of that, Department of Housing list of what the city has now in terms of affordable units?
No, not for me.
All right. So if not, then we can move on to trying to finalize the resident housing needs survey questions. And I will share my screen again. I'm going to share the version that I asked Rista to let me know if she had any comments. So I'm just going to share with you the version that you all received, but with some comments from Rista on it. Do you want me to review her? She just had a couple comments about things to add. Should I go over those?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing she thought we should add in question number 1 was an option that if somebody owns a multifamily property and lives in one of the units. Is that okay with you guys? It's just one more option that they could pick.
Sure,
Yeah,
that makes
sure.
some sense.
That's good.
That was a good catch.
I'm just writing myself a note. And then this in question number 3, she thought we should add, so if your rental situation feels unstable, for example, are you worried that the owner may sell or raise the rent? Is it okay to add that, or raise rent?
I think that's an excellent catch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And then in question number 9, in terms of barriers, I think she wants us to add, we're asking whether a barrier that they have experienced is limited supply of 1 or 2 bedroom housing options. I think she wants us to add a 3 or 4 bedroom option. And an other. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Sure.
I think that was it.
Can you just go back to question number 3? she had a note there, maintenance issues, safety concerns for houses newer than 1970. I think that's valid. To put perhaps another question in there. My house is newer than 1970, if you want to distinguish it, but needs maintenance or something along that line.
Well, we do have this option about maintenance costs are too high, leading to deferred maintenance issues.
But I get what
But that's
Claudia,
different.
yeah,
Okay.
I get what Claudia is saying, and I think we could just replicate that, sent one checkbox. My house apartment is newer than 1970.
Right.
Just another option.
What I was trying to get to wasn't so much that it was updated or renovated, but does it need maintenance? Do you feel that, like, sometimes I go in apartments and the ceilings are falling down because they haven't fixed a hole in the roof, but the apartment is fairly new.
Well, so I guess, could we change this maintenance costs are too high, leading to deferred maintenance issues?
Well, if this is for a renter, they're not going to know whether the costs are too high. I think you could change that.
Yes.
Yeah, because what you're talking about is kind of what I was hoping to get to with, but maybe it's just not phrased appropriately. So instead of maintenance costs too high, it will say something like, home, house or apartment is not well maintained and there are safety concerns.
Perfect.
That's good. Very good.
I like that.
Okay. All right, so anything else?
I think
you
that's
all-
good.
Are you all comfortable with the introduction here? We're
Yes.
working on our plan.
Yeah, it explains what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does a good job.
I think the next thing we want to talk about is really kind of, again, how to get this out to people and get them to take it. So we can obviously change the date of December 10th.
Yeah.
If you all decide you want a different date, but I'll, so if you're comfortable with that, I'll stop sharing and then we should talk about what the best ways are to get the survey out to people.
That was one of my concerns too, because we want to do it well so that we don't have some people just trying to answer it to be sarcastic or not serious.
Oh, you think that
Sorry.
would happen? Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to say it though.
Okay, so does the town have an e-newsletter that goes out to residents? Sorry, the city.
Not really. I mean, we have the website. Rista's been doing, she's got kind of a newsletter that she does send out. So it could be in more in Rista's camp there. I think she could help us with some stuff that she sends out with economic development.
And maybe, is there a social media?
Yes, and the mayor has a page as well.
Okay, and then there's like a Torrington chatter, is that right?
That was
Yeah.
what I was thinking of when I was talking about the type of answers you'll get.
Yeah, I would hesitate on doing that one.
Okay.
I think more of the official ones would make sense to me.
Okay.
So
You could-
let me just ask a question. You're saying that they could go online and fill it out and submit it online?
Yeah, I mean, in most towns that I've worked with so far, almost everyone does it online.
Okay.
And I know that doesn't work for everyone, and we should talk about other options, but the easiest, cheapest way of doing a survey is to send, literally have it, again, on a social media post or an email where they can click on the link and, spend 3 minutes answering these questions.
But how do they know it's there?
Well, that's what we're talking about, is kind of how do we get it on social media, in e-newsletters?
Okay.
What's the best way to get that link out to people so they can click
Okay.
on it?
And do we get even a press release at some time that it's available on the city website?
Yeah, we can work with Bruno on that. He's a good man. He could put something in there
Right.
that we're looking for it.
And I'm sure Emily would post it in the register as well.
Yep, that will be good. Can you guys think of other ways that people find out about what's going on?
Is this something that we could take to our senior center?
Yeah,
I mean, that's another avenue for that. And Claudia, you might have a list of people or groups that might be willing to answer questions.
Well, I mean, I have all my tenants. I don't know whether they'd be willing to answer questions, but, yeah,
If it's anonymous, though, you don't have to put your name on it.
Yeah.
It was just a thought, because I know that a lot of people are reticent about doing that, but I was just trying to think of different options here.
were you or Claudia, or were you talking about you have email addresses or?
no, we do not.
Okay,
Most of my clients, I gotta be honest, some of them are computer literate. Most of them, I don't believe are. That's for public housing. Section 8, which isn't listed on your list there. Probably more people are, computer literate on that because they tend to be younger or whatever. I got to think about this a little bit. I'm not really comfortable with having like these big, tenant meetings at this juncture. So
yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I,
I think the other challenge, again, I mean, I obviously we do want to allow people to take it on paper if they want, but I will just note that it is a lot of work to enter these paper responses into the, it just takes a lot of hours, so.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking paper so much as I know quite a few have mastered their phones, at least, not necessarily their computers, but it's something they might be able to do on a phone.
Totally, they can totally do these on a phone.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so I think, why don't we start with those options and see how it goes? We can always, I find it helpful to tell people there's a deadline.
Yeah, very
Um,
much so.
And then, if we don't get enough responses, we will open it up again and try to get out there and get more responses.
Right.
okay.
So we can start with that. Oh, one of the other things I was thinking of, and maybe I can talk with, I was just thinking, like, so my kids go to our local public school, and there's a e-newsletter that goes out to all the parents.
Yes. Yeah.
And, I don't know if,
Torrington Public Schools has an email or a website that they might be able to do something with. I know the
Yeah.
middle school has one that I see all the time.
Okay, yeah, so if we can get to the right person who would, I mean, I know other, in our public school, there's whatever, flyers for community events and whatever that go out to parents. So
Right.
just like, but once a week they send an email. So if we can get to the right person, maybe that we could get parents of school aged children to respond.
That sounds good.
Sharon, do you know the right person there or?
I only know the person who does it at the middle school, but I'm sure if we contacted the administrative offices, they could connect with the people or with the site, the general site for our school district. So,
Okay. All right, so I will make the few edits that we just talked about to the survey, and I will get it back out to all of you with the link that we can give people. And then we'll do a press release and get it on the city website and see what happens. Does December 10th sound okay? It was it's before our next meeting, so that we could touch base again then and figure out what else we need to do.
Yeah,
that
that'd
works
be
for
great.
me.
And
Yeah.
if you could touch base, and I'll mention it to Rista as well, her ideas on social media and that, because she's doing a lot of work with that right now
Yep.
with economic development. So
Okay.
we'll just jump on that as well.
Okay, great. All right, so that's the resident housing needs survey. And I did talk with Rista earlier today about the possibility of doing a survey for employers to tell us kind of what they think the housing needs are. And or for folks that work in town but don't live here, to tell us kind of why, or what they might be looking for if they're looking for something. And
That's-
so I think that if it's okay with you all, I'll work with Rista between this meeting and the next meeting to sort of think about what the best questions might be and how we would get them out to employers and employees.
Maybe we
Yeah.
could let the Chamber of Commerce know we're working on it.
We
Yeah.
think alike. We
Yeah.
think alike, Marty. I was going to say that too, because we have our local corporations that have the manufacturing coalition, and I'm sure some of them would be interested.
Okay.
And the chamber also has a newsletter that they email to everybody.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
I think that would be great. It's short and sweet, doesn't take a lot of time to look at. Just a thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the only challenge with the chambers, obviously, it's not just Torrington, but it can be, we can make it clear that it's for,
yeah. I mean, the news release could be just included in the chamber, and we
Yeah.
could indicate that we're looking for Torrington employers to comment on that or
Yeah,
participate.
We could put a little attention Torrington businesses,
Yeah,
which would show that it was just for Torrington.
okay. Oh, the other idea she had that she was thinking about is whether there might be some way to do a survey of Torrington High School alumni, to ask them about, why they have moved back or why they haven't moved back, or if, housing is a issue that they perceive in terms of whether or not they might move back to Torrington or stay. So that's something else that she and I can keep talking about and thinking about whether that's possible. Does that sound okay with you all?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Great. All right, and then so I don't actually really have anything else. Our next meeting is December 14th, which is a Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And at that meeting, again, we can kind of check back in on how many responses to the survey we have or haven't gotten. And talk about, again, this other kind of survey, the worker employer survey. And I think that's all. Is there anything else that folks want to talk about? Other things you want to talk about at the next meeting? Or this one?
It was nice to see apartments being lived in across from City Hall, Marty, right?
Yeah, that's,
To see the Libby building coming to life. It's really nice.
well, once again, you have to talk to Steve and tell him he really didn't have much trouble filling them either. So,
Exactly. Well, we've had that conversation, believe it or not, but
Yeah.
we've had that conversation a number of times, but I
Right.
haven't let up yet.
well, yeah, let him know that before I retire, I'd like to see him do something.
I've said a couple of times, Marty suggested,
Yeah,
so we're doing this as a pair.
good.
But I
Thanks.
keep talking to him, so, hopefully we can do that.
All right. No, I think we're good, Jocelyn.
Okay. Marty, do you know if that extension letter went in from the mayor?
I just emailed her again today,
Okay,
asking, and I was hoping she'd get back to me so I could report back to you, but I'll follow up on it again tomorrow,
okay, great.
as soon as I see her.
Okay,
All right,
so we did it all in 30 minutes.
that's
job.
what we like. We got
That's nice. That's
we got
nice.
busy people.
I
And
know.
Claudia's got a lot of work there, so she doesn't have time to fritter
And
away.
I have a city council meeting tonight, so
There you
we are
go.
all busy, right?
All right,
Yeah, no,
Very
this
well.
was good. A nice efficient group.
thank you.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you. And
I'll end the
see you-
meeting then.
Yep,
Okay.
See you all soon.
December 14th.
Okay.